Getting started in 10 minutes. Toss any links into the Discord. https discord gg beignet tridix 8Robot lady is slow today.
Good morning. Hi, how you doing? I am Waldo, and I feel the politics. We almost didn't get a stream today because the little terrorist that you sometimes see running around in the background back there touched my computer again. And what that means is that things don't work anymore. So I had to reconnect my camera and all kinds of stuff. It was awful. It was terrible. But that's what having kids is just having some little terrorist touch all your stuff. All your cool stuff. The cooler your stuff, and I got a lot of cool stuff, he wants to touch it and play with it and have some of it too. And it's awful. It's terrible. If you got cool stuff, don't have kids. They'll just mess it up. They'll just get uh, their fingerprints all over, Cheeto dust everywhere. They're filthy little creatures. Uh, and then they'll move all the things. If it doesn't work, they'll unplug your USBs. That's what he did. He unplugged my USB cord so he could plug in a different thing, and then it didn't work. And then he tried to set up the VR again, and then it'll set that to the default thing. Ugh. Ugh. What I'm saying is don't have children. They're awful. That's what I'm saying. Well, thanks for being here. So it might be a little bit of a quick stream today. What I'm going to do is go over the two big uh, stories that I was thinking about and then do the Republican book report, the next chapter in the Project 2025 book report. It is very scary and it is very spooky, and that is coming up at the end. So we'll do a Trump story and then a Supreme Court story about Trump, and then we'll do that Republican book report. Kind of a short one today, but it will be fun. If you are watching, please hop into the Discord and shoot me any links to new news that you want to talk about. Anything that's happening, anything you want to feel with me, let me know, and we will feel it together. Because politics is feelings, and everything is political. It's the way it is. So if you are here and paying attention, hop into chat, say some things, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. The robot lady will read it until I get started. And then, let me bring up my chats here so that I can see them. Yeah, YouTube chat and the Kika chat. She's being real
Robot.
slow today. Yeah, see, she's being real slow today. I'm not entirely sure why she's being so slow. Robo lady test.
Robo Lady Test.
Well, that one went fast. Okay. All right. She's being slow and fast today. So, if you got anything to say, toss it in there. I will read the chats, and then we will feel it out together. If you got links, throw them into the Discord.
Discord. HTTPS Discord GG Beignet Tritix 8.
Binyatrix 8, very cool guy. He is our Discord concierge. And let's get started. To turn her off for the moment. There she is. She's off. She's out. Then we're going to minimize this and bring it over here. There we go. And swap to the main screen. Get this ready. Go to the webcam. No. Where'd you go? Window capture. There it is. Window capture. We'll go here. We click on that. Ready, go. Ready, go. There it is. Scooch it over a little bit. Man, we are running slow today. What is happening here? Okay. Let's not be slow, computer. Let's move at the normal speed. What if I have anything open that I should close? Let's close this. Get out of here, you. Let's have Steam open, but I usually have Steam open. All right, so let's talk about this. Trump tells rally immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. That sounds like some Nazi shit. Way to go, Trump. You've done it. In New Hampshire, former president doubles down on phrase widely condemned for echoing white supremacist rhetoric. Yeah, he's a bad guy, and you should stop supporting him immediately. If you are supporting him now, stop. He's the bad guy, he's a fascist, and he's spitting Nazi talking points. And if you're cheering for him, you're cheering for a Nazi. That makes you a Nazi. Donald Trump, just weeks after using the fascist terminology vermin to describe sections of the American society he dislikes, again declared that New Hampshire rally that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Here, let's listen to him. I think we got the video right here. I hate you so much, X. I really do, dude. Like, and it's not even going to take me to the right video, is it? I bet it doesn't. Somebody take X away from Elon. Honestly, take Twitter away from Elon. I swear, dude, he's poisoning the whole thing. He's poisoning the blood of Twitter. Mother of God. If I had known that wasn't going to play, I probably would have loaded it up before the thing started.
To do. They're poisoning the blood of our country when they do that. We got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just come in. The crime is going to be tremendous. The terrorism is going to be. And then we built a tremendous piece of the wall, and then we country when they do that. We got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world.
It doesn't do. Okay. My computer's being crazy slow today. It's gonna be it's gonna be one of those streams, you know? Bad one. Okay. So, what have we got? We've got the front runner for the Republican presidential candidate saying Nazi shit. Because that's what he is. That's who he is. And I'm tired of pretending he's not. He is a fucking fascist. And he will bring fascism to you, to me, to everyone in this country. I won't be as harmed by it as some other people. Have you seen my complexion? I won't be rounded up and put on a train and sent to a camp the way he's promising to do to others. Because here we go. CNN has reported that if the former president wins in 2024, he plans to expand the hardline immigration policies of his first term, during which children were separated from their families and at the border and caged. His new plans reportedly include placing undocumented immigrants who already live in the U.S. into detention camps, purportedly to await deportation. On Saturday, he said he would restore and expand his bans to travel to the U.S. He forbid entry to many Muslim-majority countries and African nations. He said he would implement strong ideological screening for all illegal immigrants. Thought crimes. If you're here and you think wrong, you're a criminal. This guy who did the tweet, Mehdi Hassan, who recently just lost his stupid show because he wasn't super as on board with the state of Israel as his employers would like him to be, has said, classic Trump, say something crazy, outrageous, neo-Nazi-like, and then it gets headlines, creates outrage. Wait a little while, say it again, no one notices, no coverage, and it gets normalized and mainstreamed. Let's be clear, migrants poisoning the blood is Hitler rhetoric. Yes, it is. And this is why I obsess about him. This is why I keep talking about him. This is why every time he says these things, I point it out. It's coming. It's happening. It's here. And it's going to get bad. It's going to be awful. And there's only one way to beat it is to vote for somebody else. That's it. That's all we have. And then protect that vote and make sure that we actually follow up with 1, vote somebody else. 2, don't let him take over when he tries to force his way in, because he will. He will get voted out. He will call it a scam, and then we'll have another Jan 6. It's going to be great. It's crazy how you can make the country sound like it's on fire when you constantly lie about it. That's right. Claiming someone has TDS is a tactic to get people to stop talking about him. Right. I don't have. Do I have Trump derangement syndrome? No. I have Trump truth syndrome. I see him, and I tell you what I'm seeing, and he's deranged. Like, why are you ignoring his derangement? Trump derangement syndrome is the Republicans who ignore this shit. That's deranged. That's a syndrome. And it's about Trump. So TDS means that you ignore his fascist tendencies. TDS means that you hand wave and say, oh, it's just words to get everybody riled up. No, it's not. This is a problem. This is the biggest problem we've ever had as a country. He's already caused an insurrection, and it's going to get worse because, hey, guess what? The Supreme Court wants to protect him. That's my next story. Here we go. Let's see. Come on, computer. Stop being slow. Why are you so slow? Supreme Court will hear a case that could undo Capitol riot charges against hundreds, including Trump. So, I think it was Wednesday. It was only a couple of days ago. I read a story about Kavanaugh. Shinsinto, you gave me the link with Lawrence O'Donnell. He does that very cool video where I'll put the link up here, and he tells us why constitutionally the president should be held accountable for crimes he's committed. He's impeached or he leaves, then afterward you indict him for the crimes. It says so right in the Constitution. Brett Kavanaugh absolutely wrote a paper about how that should happen to Bill Clinton. Kavanaugh, I worried earlier this week, I was worried that Kavanaugh would flip-flop and change his mind. He would go back on the words he wrote in the 90s, or he would come up with some shit reason that it only applies to Bill Clinton and Joe Biden and Obama, but not to George W. Bush or Trump or Bush Sr. That was the assumption that I had. He was going to come up with some worst case scenario. Kavanaugh was going to come up with some cockamamie reason that this only applies to the people he doesn't like. Very conservative of him to do so. But now he ain't going to do that. No. We've got a different plan here. The Capitol riot charge against hundreds, including Trump. It's not going to be a crime to do insurrection. There's the twist. Supreme Court on Wednesday said it will hear an appeal that could upend hundreds of charges stemming from the Capitol riot, including against former President Donald Trump. The justices will review a charge of obstruction of official proceedings that has been brought against more than 300 people. The charges refer to the disruption of Congress, certification of 2020 presidential election over Trump. Among 4 counts brought against Trump in special counsel's act in this case that accuses 24 Republican presidential primary frontrunner of conspiring to overturn the results of his election loss. Trump is also charged with conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. So, what will happen? Kavanaugh won't go back on his word that he wrote in the 90s. What he'll do is say that the things that happened on Jan 6 are not crimes. They didn't obstruct anything. They didn't do anything. And the things that happened that day aren't criminal. And if it's not a crime, then Donald Trump can't be indicted for it. He can't be prosecuted for it. He cannot be punished and held accountable for it because it's not a crime, you see. It's a very nice little workaround that they've come up with, and I think this is the tact that Kavanaugh is going to use. He's going to say that the things that happened that day were not crimes. These 300 people need to be removed from jail. They didn't do anything wrong. Neither did Trump, and that's fine. So they're just going to invalidate the convictions already on the books? Yes. The 300 people that are already in jail for this thing are going to have, it's been up and up and up and up and up and up and up. It gets to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, in a very conservative way, is going to say, it's not crime when our guys do it to benefit us. cases dismissed. Anybody who's already been in jail is now removed. You've been exonerated. And those people that you're talking about that already have the convictions will be exonerated. And they'll probably sue the state and the federal government. Maybe. If they get a good lawyer, they will. But they may not have the money for it. Entirely possible. So, when a Republican commits crimes at the direction of a Republican for the benefit of Republicans winning, it's not a crime. That's what's coming. That is what Kavanaugh is going to tell us. That is what Kavanaugh is going to tell us. He is going to say that if a Republican does it to benefit Republicans, that's just political speech, not a crime. And that's the worst case scenario right there. I'm being very doomer about this. I'm being very worst case right now. And I know that. It's entirely possible that this story right here is fine, and the Supreme Court's going to be like, yeah, dude, those are totally crimes. You can't do that. That's obviously a crime. It's entirely possible that they come down 5-4 saying those are crimes and need to be punished. But that means that Donald Trump will have to be punished for them as well. And he's already been indicted on it. So if Kavanaugh wants to save Trump, and he does, let's be fair, Brett Kavanaugh wants to save Trump's ass. He does. He really does. And how will he do it? He can't do it because, as Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out last week, he's already written a very solid legal document and legal opinion about how the president can, in fact, be indicted after he leaves office for the crimes he committed while in office. It's in the Constitution. He's pointed to it and pointed it out and drawn it out against Bill Clinton. So how does he save Donald Trump? He saves him by saying that Donald Trump didn't commit any crimes. Can't convict him. Can't indict him. Not a crime. So that is the awful, horrible, terrible, miserable state we're going to be in. And I think this is a small thing that's been flying under the radar, I think. And I think what's going to happen is that he's going to say these weren't crimes. This was a free use of political speech or something along those lines. This is a free exercise of your First Amendment right to assemble and protest, and all those charges will get ignored and removed. And it's going to be a pain, and it's going to be bad. And because of that, those people will get out, and he will make everything worse. Bobo is running around over here, so he's distracting me. It's Bobo time. Hi, everybody. My name's Bobo. I bark a lot. Whoa, Wiggle. He does not want to be up here. Go. He wants to run. He wants to run. So, if you hear what sounds like a stampede in the background, it's Bobo and Louie chasing each other. Bobo and Lulu. Did that make you feel better about our impending civil war? I hope so. So yeah, every time you remember that the Civil War is coming, just think about Bobo. Yeah, 10 seconds of reprieve, and then it's back to the bad news. So yeah, best case scenario, the Supreme Court says, yes, those were crimes. You should be held responsible. You're not allowed to block the certification of an election. That means Donald Trump is also responsible for those things. Unless, I mean, middle of the road, they say that those 300 people are responsible, but Donald Trump is not. That's a possibility too. I think it's unlikely, but it's possible that he's special. He gets special privileges for being important and valuable and rich and a powerful person. So they get special stuff. And then If he gets away, if that happens, that one's probably going to happen first. They're going to say it's not a crime. Then the next one comes back. The one that Lawrence O'Donnell mentioned just flies under the radar. It doesn't matter at that point. They'll say yes, he's responsible for crimes, but he didn't commit any. Jack Smith's entire case just collapses because the rules don't mean anything anymore. Words don't have any meaning. You can just say whatever you want. If you do bad things for Republican reasons, then it's not a bad thing. That will become the norm, and Donald Trump will do many, 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 many bad things for Republican reasons, and no one will say that they're crimes. That's where we're headed, and that's where we're going. I can't. And then Nick Offerman Civil War. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's what's going to happen. I don't know. Worst case scenario, that's what happens. Yeah, but best case scenario. So let's all be sad, miserable about that. And because I haven't done it in a while, what have I got? I've got a very slow computer. So next up is the Republican Book Report. As usual, I have been reading through this very awful fictional book called Project 2025. This is the plan that Republicans have for the next Republican president to enact a Republican government. They're going to kick out everybody who doesn't like them. They're going to remove everyone who isn't hardline voting Republican. If you didn't vote for the current president, they're going to kick you out of every institution. FBI, CIA, housing development, IRS. If you didn't vote Republican, your ass is grass. You're out. You're done. Because that is the way they will run it from now on. That is obviously what they've said it specifically in their documents. But today, I am going to read, what is that, chapter 14? What chapter are we on? Let me bring it up. Yeah, chapter 15, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. This one's a little slow and boring, so I'm going to skip all the boring parts. And we'll find out what plans they have for your house and my house and everybody's houses. I got some notes because I did a book report. What do we got? Okay, great. I know, but I missed Saturday. KBB, thanks for being here. But I skipped Saturday for my old lady's birthday, and now I have to catch up, or else I won't have anything to post on the next couple of days. I hear them bark boys in the background. Okay. And it's going to be a quick one, KBP. I'm probably going to knock out this chapter and then call it a day because I've been busy all weekend. The U.S. Department of Housing. Okay, I got to put on the scary voice. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development administers a web of federal programs with mandates to support access to home ownership and affordable rental housing, relieve temporary housing instability for homeless persons, preserve a stable inventory of public housing units, and enforce mandates with powers to settle compliance matters ranging from housing quality and standards of housing discrimination cases. Politicians across party lines use the HUD to promise ever greater public benefits. In addition, HUD programs tend to perpetuate the notion of bureaucratically provided housing as a basic life need. And whether intentionally or not, fail to acknowledge that these public benefits too often have led to intergenerational poverty traps. Poverty traps have implicitly penalized family formation in traditional two-parent marriages. Oh no, two-parent marriages. And have discouraged work and income growth, thereby limiting upward mobility. To a conservative administration will therefore need to. So, right off the bat, we're getting this from, I forgot to introduce him, Benjamin Carson, who is a grade A moron. He is an absolute dunce, man. He is a dipshit. His brain, very tiny, very limited. Man, he got potato brain. What's the difference between Ben Carson's brain and mayonnaise? Mayonnaise tastes better on a sandwich. That's it. Okay. So he's written this. He's ghost written it probably. So Here is the plan. Reset HUD. This effort should specifically include a broad reversal of the Biden administration's persistent implementation of corrosive progressive ideologies across the department's programs. Progressive ideologies. What that means is that paying attention to black people. When Biden is in charge of the HUD, they go to the poor people and then try to help them. And the poor people are mostly black people. And that, to a conservative, means that you're being racist against white people by giving black people more stuff. They're very dumb, these conservative people, and the people who wrote this. Benjamin Carson, very dumb, like I said. Implementation. An action plan across both process and people. This plan should include both the immediate redelegation and authority of cadre and political appointees. Oh yeah, this is the appointees bit. This is boring. Creep. Okay. They just say that they don't want any more federal power. HUD's new political leadership team will need to re-examine the federal government's role in housing markets across the nation and to consider whether it's time for a reform, reinvention, or renewal that transfers department functions to several federal agencies, states, and localities. I think this part is very boring. This just describes who they want to work there. This is just their chain of command and their org structure. This is boring and can be skipped. Great. Just describing what the field manager does. Boring. Okay. This is mostly boring, but that's why I'm reading it and giving you the highlights so you don't have to read it. And they can't baffle you with this shit later. Because Donald Trump's going to hold this up and proclaim that it's the greatest thing that's ever been written. And I've read it. It's not. It's very bad, in fact. Ideally, Congress should redelegate authorities that have been diverted to HUD's administrative bureaucracy and safeguard taxpayers against the mission creep that inevitably occurs when Congress delegates power to an unempowered and unelected bureaucracy. Okay, listen. Ben Carson, listen to me. Congress delegates that power all the time because they're cowards. They're wieners. They're wimps. They do not want to take a vote on anything. Congress does not want to vote on anything. They want somebody else to do it so they can blame them if it goes wrong. And if it goes right, they can say, we gave them the power. Aren't we smart? Vote for us. We're Congress. They do not want to take specific votes on individual housing policies. They don't want to do that because they will get it wrong and they'll get in trouble and they won't get votes and they'll have to learn a thing. They don't want to learn things. They just want to be famous. They want to be live streamers. Everyone in Congress just wants to be a live streamer. That's what they want. They want to go in front of the camera. They want to tell their opinions. They want to tell you how they're feeling. And then they want to get paid for it. Just be a live streamer. It's not that hard. I can figure it out. I'm not very good at it, but I can figure it out. You can figure it out too. Let's see. If implemented, the reforms proposed in this chapter can help a new conservative administration to use its Article 2 powers to rectify bureaucratic overreach, reverse the expansion of programs beyond their statutory authority, and end progressive policies that have been put in place at the department. A new conservative administration can and should implement the following reforms that focus on both people and process. Implementation of these reforms simply requires courageous political leadership across all of HUD's key appointed positions. Courageous political leadership. They hate politics. They want to get rid of the people who are political and replace them with political people. HUD political leadership should immediately assign all delegated powers to politically appointed office leadership positions, change any current career leadership positions into political and non-career appointment positions. Wait, what does that mean? Leadership should immediately assign all delegated powers to politically appointed and other office leadership positions. Change any current career leadership positions into political and non-career appointment positions. Like, they just get rid of the people that disagree with us. Just get rid of them. If they have been working in this administration to help the American people for 20 years, fuck you. You didn't vote for Republican. Get the fuck out. The president should issue an executive order making HUD secretary a member of the Committee of Foreign Investments. I know what this is about. Can you guys guess what this one's about? Which will gain broader oversight authorities to address foreign threats, particularly from China, with oversights of foreign ownership, real estate, and both rental and ownership markets of a single-family, multifamily housing, with trillions worth of real estate secured across HUD's portfolio. They hate China. Guess what? China does, in fact, Chinese companies do, in fact, buy American real estate, then rent it and collect profits. That's not a government issue, guys. That's a capitalism problem. Capitalism running amok is what you will get, is how you get China buying up our property, renting it to people, and collecting the profit. That's a capitalist problem. If that's a viable way to make a profit, that's what people will do. If you don't want China to do that, and I can comprehend the idea why you wouldn't want that, I can dig that. I really can. The government has to make a law. So the Republicans want the governments to make laws when it hurts their profit and ignore the laws when it helps their profit. You know, it's like, it's so blatantly obvious that this is a capitalist problem. This is blatantly a capitalistic issue right here. And yes, the only thing that can beat the capitalism is a government. So don't come down so hard on the government. Quit saying the government is the problem when in fact the problem is capitalism. The secretary should initiate a HUD task force consisting of politically appointed personnel, to identify and reverse all actions taken by the Biden administration to advance progressive ideology. We hate politics. Get rid of the political people and replace them with our political people, because they're not political, even though they're politically appointed. See, this is that conservative brain rot again, where everything that a conservative does, everything that Republicans do, is just common sense. But everything a liberal does is political. It's that stupid joke I make about there only being two races, white and political. You know, there are only two genders, male and political. There are only two, there's either common sense or political choices. Progressive ideology or common sense. They don't realize that their common sense is a political choice that they have made. The Office of the Secretary or the leadership in the Office General Counsel should conduct a thorough review of all sub-regulatory guidance that has been instituted outside the blah, 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 immediately end the Biden administration property appraisal policies and reverse any Biden administration actions that threaten to undermine the integrity of real estate appraisals. Now, this is probably something, I don't know what PAVE, property appraisal valuation equity, is, but it's apparently hurting real estate appraisals, and it's hurting their bottom line. This hurts the bottom line of real estate agents and the people who own houses, so they want to get rid of it. The government did a thing to make things more fair and more equitable for the humans that live here, but it hurts the bottom line, somebody's bottom line, so they need to get rid of it. Capitalism run amok again. Repeal climate change initiatives and spending on the department's budget requests. Fuck off, dude. Repeal climate change initiatives. Fuck your face. Repeal the affirmatively furthering fair housing regulation reinstituted under the Biden administration, and any other uses of special purpose credit authorities for further equity. Sounds like something Trump is in trouble for right now. Something about fake property values. Yeah, it very well could connect to him. You're right. That they repeal it, and then all of a sudden his New York case goes away. But Your Honor, the law changed after I broke it. Can't you just ignore it? That's probably the Republican play there. Eliminate the new housing supply fund. So I don't know what AFFH is, but special purpose credit authorities for further equity. They hate fucking equity. Oops. Jeez. Stupid computer. Dang it. Sorry. Okay, here we are. I don't know how it skips down so many pages. All right. I don't know what this AFFH thing is, but it has equity in it, and they hate it. They hate equity. This is probably just nicer to poor people who happen to be also brown. So, got to get rid of it. Eliminate the new housing supply fund. I don't know what that is, but it probably helps people, so they need to get rid of it. Republicans do not want to help you. They want you to be forced into the market where you can either succeed or die. The Office of the Secretary should recommence proposed regulation put forward by the Trump administration that would prohibit non-citizens, including mixed status families, from living in the federally assisted housing, including providing housing for American citizens who are in need. So get those non-citizens out. Kick them out on the street. We don't care who they are, where they're from, or what's going on. They are not American. They do not get to live in these houses. Fuck them. Put them on the street. Republicans hate the homeless people. They hate them. Yet their plans will make more of them. I don't get it, guys. How do you come up with these things? And even the citizens, the American citizens who are in there, you don't like. HUD reforms must also ensure alignment with reforms implemented by other federal agencies where immigration status impacts public programs. Certainly to include any reforms to the public charge regulatory framework administered by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, but local welfare organizations, not the federal government, should step up and provide welfare for the housing of non-citizens. Yet the local welfare organizations will be run at a state level by Republicans who will cut it off and do nothing. Those people will just be out on the street being homeless, and you'll bitch about that and blame that on Joe Biden. Republican president kicks people out of houses. Those people go live on the street. Biden's fault. It'll be San Francisco's fault. It'll be those blue cities, those Democrat cities. It'll be their fault. If I weren't reading it literally right there, I wouldn't. You can't even come up with a plan for this. Like, how do you not see that? How can they not tell that their plans are bad? It's like they don't think. The Office of the Secretary should execute regulatory and sub-regulatory guidance actions to relevant stakeholders, restrict program eligibility when admission would threaten the protection of the life and health of individuals, and fail to encourage upward mobility and economic advancement through household self-sufficiency. Now, here we go. Yeah, you're right, Shinsedo. It doesn't hurt their people and their investors. So they're okay with it. Household self-sufficiency. Bootstraps, baby. There your bootstraps. Where are your bootstraps? Get your bootstraps, boys. We need a bootstraps emote. Okay. Bootstraps emote. I'm writing that down. Bootstraps emote. Straps emote. And then every time they talk about bootstraps, we can pop it out. Okay. Where admissible in regulatory action, HUD should implement reforms reducing the implicit anti-marriage bias in housing assistance programs. So, as usual, Republicans see a thing and they see it backward because they're backward brains. Housing assistance programs do not have an anti-marriage bias. They have a bias towards the people who are the worst off. The people who are the worst off are generally single people trying to raise children. It is much harder. You have to spend time with the children, and you have to spend time at work, and you don't have much money. So those are the people who get the help. But in giving that help to them, a conservative backward brain sees you favoritizing and giving them the most benefits. So that's unfair in their backward brain. The people who, in reality, the people who need the most help get the most help. The squeaky wheels get the grease. But in the backward Republican brain, why aren't all the wheels getting grease? Well, because one of them is squeakier than the others. Well, that's not fair. They don't comprehend what equity and equality means. That means everybody gets exactly the same thing. No. It means the squeakier wheels get more grease. If Dems are such a good party, why would they let us evict so many people? Yeah, you're right. KVP, good point. If Biden were smart, he wouldn't have let us evict everybody after he was gone. Yeah. Strengthen work and work readiness requirements. Again, if you're not working, you get kicked the fuck out. If you don't work hard enough, you get kicked the fuck out. If you lose your job, you get kicked the fuck out of your house. It's not our fault. It's your fault. You should have tried harder. You should have worked harder. You should have gotten 4 bootstraps instead of 2. You should have worked harder. And it's not our fault. Fuck you. Implement maximum term limits for residents in these programs and end housing first policies so that the department prioritizes mental health and substance abuse issues before jumping into permanent interventions in homelessness. I think so that the department prioritizes, yeah, because those housing first policies prioritize mental health and substance abuse before jumping into permanent more homeless people. This leads to more homeless people. This leads to more mentally ill people on the street. This leads to more substance abuse on the street. This leads to more crack smoking on the subway. That's what this does. And the Republicans will piss and moan every time they see it. Notwithstanding administrative reforms, Congress should enact legislation that protects life and eliminates provisions in federal housing and welfare benefits. Policies that discourage work, marriage, and meaningful paths upward in economic mobility. Again, backward Republican logic, if you give people things, they'll stop working. If you give these poor, lazy people, that's why they're, and from the Republican point of view, that's why they're poor. It's because they're lazy and they don't want to work. If you give them things, then they'll stop working entirely. The only way to make them work is to promise them something after they've worked themselves to the bone. Then they'll do it. You're right. You can't, Shinseto, your crack problem is an issue. We need to talk about that. We're going to have a intervention for you. I can't pull myself up by my bootstraps because I like crack more than capitalism. Yeah, it's a fun state to be in. The Office of Development Research should suspend all research and evaluation grants of the Office of Policy Development Research and or realign to another office. Blah 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 blah. Let's see. This is just a 20-year term. They're talking about the mortgage insurance premiums. This is probably just to help somebody else's bottom line, somebody who wants money, wants this law passed so they can make more money. And the Republicans love that idea because they love people making money. I think the next one was... yeah, that's all. That's all boring budget stuff. Nobody wants that. Long-term policy reform considerations. Congress has charged the HUD principally with mandates for construction of the nation's affordable housing stock, in addition to setting and enforcing standards for decent housing and fair housing enforcement. Regardless of the intent, HUD's efforts have yielded mixed results at best. Even today, more than half a century after Congress put enforcement, so-called fair housing, in the hands of HUD, bureaucracy, implementation, and the policies muddled, and all repeated by the repeated application of affirmative race-based policy. Affirmative race-based policies. This is why they failed. According to Republicans, this is why they failed. Because they were focusing on minorities. But again, Republicans don't know they're backward. It's interesting. They don't know that their brain is backward. I don't know how to tell them. How do I convince them that their brain is backward? Let's see. Just complaining about something else. Longer-term reforms of HUD rental assistance programs should encourage choice and competition for renters, encourage participation by landlords where appropriate, and encourage all non-elderly, able-bodied adults to move towards self-sufficiency. There it is. If you have had bad luck and you can't get a job for any specific reason, fuck you. Just fuck you, according to the Republicans. You are either an able-bodied person or an invalid. They, again, black and white. Duality. You are or you are not. There is no gray area with Republicans. These are the conditions. Elderly or able-bodied adults to move towards. Yeah, and you're either an able-bodied adult or you're not. There's no third option. There's no gray areas. There's no middle of the road. You're just one of those things or the other. I goofed my light up. I look stupid. No gray areas, no comprehension of anything in the middle, no gradients, no degrees, no. All or nothing. Let's see. This can be pursued through regulations and legislative reforms that seek to strengthen work requirements, limit the period during which households are eligible for housing benefits, and add flexibility to rent payment terms to facilitate the movement of households towards self-sufficiency. I doubt that the landlords are going to be on board for that one. I mean, that's nice. I could be okay with flexibility in rent payments, but that generally won't help. You still owe the money, and if you don't have the money, fuck you, according to this document. Obviously, using government vouchers or other such program to expand housing choice options is not without its downsides. The turn towards mobility vouchers constitutes an abandonment of America's public housing stock, and efforts to increase competition in the public housing market must not come at the expense of local autonomy and the abilities of cities and towns and neighborhoods, communities to choose for themselves the sort of housing they want to allow. Fuck you. The ability of cities and towns and neighborhoods to choose for themselves the sort of housing they want to allow? That leads, you know what? I'm going to show a little photo. What have we got? We've got a photo. Here we go. And I'm going to make some broad generalizations here. The guy living in this house does not know the person living in this house. It's 100 feet away, but he does not know them. He does not comprehend them. He has no idea who they are. He has no idea where they're from. He has no idea what their names are, their kids, or anything. This guy doesn't know this guy, and this guy doesn't know that guy. And the lady who lives here has no idea who lives right there in this blighted, disgusting suburb. You know, the suburb people don't know each other. They don't have a neighborhood and a community. They don't talk to each other. They ignore each other. That's why you have the yards, so that no one will have to talk to each other. You don't have to be a part of a neighborhood or community, and it doesn't lead to people choosing for themselves. It leads to the people who own the shit choosing for themselves, or a homeowners association, which is the worst possible choice, because the only thing they give a shit about is knocking those numbers up. They don't give a shit about your freedom or your neighborhood or your town or your city or your communities or the choices you make. They give a shit about making the number go up. That is the only thing that an HOA ever gives a shit about. My number needs to go up by 1% every year, or else fuck you, you know? And this is, again, about the market, because that's what matters to these people. Money, 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 money. Make those numbers go up. This isn't about giving people a house to live in. This isn't about creating communities. This is about knocking those numbers upward forever and eternally, so that we can make more profit. Congress should also consider these areas in which a federal policy negatively interacts with private markets, including when federal policy crowds out private sector development and exacerbates affordability challenges that persist across the nation. It is essential that legislation provides states and localities maximal flexibility to pursue locally designed policies and minimize the likelihood of federal preemption of local land and use of zoning decisions. I mean, I'm okay with the local people making these decisions, but I don't think they will. Not properly, anyway. Don't forget passive-aggressive letters about your yard. It's not like everyone else's. Right. The locally designed policies will just empower the people who own the entire area. You're trading one large government entity for 100 little government entities that still run over you. In the same manner, Congress should prioritize any and all legislative support for the single-family home. They fucking love, dude, Republicans love single-family homes. It's like, it totally gets them off. I don't know why, but they hate apartments. That's for degenerate monsters. Single-family homes. That's the way to go. Why do they do that? Because it's an investment strategy. Because it is a economic game. I say it all the time, But there's a Vladimir Putin quote where he says, "I don't understand the American economy. The whole thing seems to be based on buying and selling each other's houses." Putin's a terrible person, but he made an astute observation there. The entire economy is based on buying and selling each other's houses, and that is the best when we're doing single-family homes. That's why they want them. They don't give a shit about your American dream. They don't give a shit about you. They give a shit about profit, turnover, and honestly car infrastructure. Because single-family homes lead to giant driveways, lead to giant roads, which you have to drive to get everywhere. You cannot walk from this place to anywhere of use. You cannot walk from this house to a store. You cannot walk from this little house to a grocery store. You cannot walk from this house to a bar. You cannot walk from this house to your job. You must have a car, and that car is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger every year. Homeownership forms the backbone of the American dream. No. The purchase of a home is the largest investment most Americans will make in their lifetimes, and homeownership remains the most accessible way to build generational wealth for millions of Americans. I don't think so. No, if Americans were buying a home, paying on it for 30 years, paying it off, keeping it, giving it to their kids, that's bad for the economy. The economy does not like that. No, that shit needs to turn over every couple of years. That's why the prices go up, and then the fixed rate mortgages go up all the time, because they need you to sell that shit, buy a different one, live in it for 3 or 4 years, sell that shit, buy another one. That's what they need for the economy to continue to function. People living in the same place that they're at right now for 30 years, paying it off, owning it, giving it to their kids, there's no economic upturn in that. There's no numbers going up there. The economy needs you to sell your house every couple of years, or else the entire system falls apart. Let's see, I think that's 511 single-family homes, and yeah, all the rest of this was just blah, 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 blah. And I think let's get the end point here. I don't think there's anything else interesting in here. Yeah, the rest of it is pretty boring. Okay, so yeah, the entire economy is based on buying and selling each other's houses, and if you're not doing that, you're harming the economy. The economy will slow, it will stagnate, and those numbers won't go up. And we're all doomed if the numbers don't go up. If the investors don't make their fucking nut, if they don't get the specific amount that they need, they will tank everything. They will ruin the entire economy. They will wreck your entire company. They will wreck your job. They will create so much instability just so they can get what they want. Investors are the problem. I mean, honestly, I'm a gamer. All I ever hear about is video games and stuff like that who take on an investor, and then the investor is like, hey, you have to do this right now and shake things up so that the stock price goes up. And then that investor gets the stock price up, they sell it, and they jump the fuck out. The investors don't care about solid, steady, dependable production. They don't. If a company was producing exactly the amount they needed, they sold all their products, they were sustainable, and they were steady for year after year after year after year after year. Investors hate that shit. It's good for you. It's good for me, because we know what they produce. We know what they're going to do next year. We know how they can give us these things. And they are running a very small profit, enough to pay off all their workers, enough to buy stuff, and enough to very slowly expand. That's no good. The investors don't want that shit. They want skyrocketing numbers right now so they can sell it and move the fuck on. They don't care how much turmoil it causes. If there's turmoil and volatility in the market, in the economy, it's because of investors. They caused it so that they could benefit. Or they get a good year of revenue, even if it was one time thing, it becomes a new line and you failed, you don't make the 1 year over. Yeah, They do that. They absolutely do that. They are the ones that cause the volatility. They're the ones that cause the ups and the downs. They're the ones that causes the bubbles to grow and then to burst. They are the problem. And I don't know what to do about it. Socialism. That's what we do about it. Get rid of them. Anyway, that is all for my rambling ranting today. This is the Republican Book Report, and it has completed. Next time, probably, maybe next week, maybe not, we will discuss the Department of the Interior. We might skip that one. It's going to be boring. I'll read over the Department of Interior, see if it's anything interesting. Probably isn't. What's chapters? 16, and there are 30 chapters. So we have just passed the halfway point. So that's fun. Okay, let's look at ugly suburban neighborhoods. There's one. Ugh, gross. Here's another one. Disgusting. Look at it. Oh God, it's so gross. You guys look at it. It's so gross. This is terrible. God, that's terrible. I hate everything about that. Dude, where are you gonna go? You're just gonna sit inside all the time. I sit inside a lot, but I also like take public transit to work every day. I haven't driven my car in months because I have a bus and a boat that can take me to work. I don't need them, and it's great. Blech. Gross. Disgusting. Let's look at this Reddit. It's suburban hell. Look at that. Terrible. Oh, 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 oh. That's so bad. What are you doing? Why would you want to be there? I mean, yeah, great. You bought that for cheap. You park your car right there. You live in that house forever. And I mean, you never know who else is around. That's fine, but you just never come out of your house because why would you? Why would you come out? There's nothing out there. That's just complaining about Starbucks. I hate these things too. Look at that crap. Look at this garbage. Why would you build it that way? Why would you build all these stupid little cul-de-sacs? I hate them. Why would you want that to be your traffic pattern? You know? Yuck. Okay. I think I'm done ranting. Ugh. Ugh. They have a sidewalk, but no one's ever used it. Look how nice and perfect that sidewalk is. You know why? No one would ever use it for anything ever. Where are you going? You going from this house to that house? There's no stores nearby. There's nowhere to go shopping. There's nothing to buy. There's no fun place to be. So, yeah, I hate the suburbs. Um, and I think it's literally a side effect of the housing market and making cars bigger. They need bigger cars. You need to buy a bigger car or else our entire economy is going to collapse. No, KBP, thank you for being here. I know it was off time. Look at KBP playing slots. If you want to be cool like him, you can win 100 points by playing slots. All you have to do is type into chat a few times. Every time you chat, you get 5 points, and then you can gamble with the points you got. They're very important. They're street cred, and they are a valuable and important currency in where are they a valuable currency? In the upcoming Civil War. Yes, once the Civil War starts, the only acceptable currency will be Waldo points. So you guys are ahead of the curve. I really appreciate you being here. This is an investment opportunity, and you're way ahead of the curve. So if you're listening, if you're watching, please hop into chat, tell me things, and get those points. You're going to need them. How else are you going to get toilet paper, you know? There is the YouTube link. Click on that link, watch the videos, and become a subscriber. I am close to 100 subscribers. Maybe someday soon. I'll be in the triple digits. And that is it for me today. I appreciate everybody who came by. Great, now you're target for caravans of migrants. Because of all your points. Well, you're going to need the currency. You can trade that currency to them. You can employ them. You're the new owner, man. You're the new investor. You're the new bourgeois. You're going to have all these points. What are you going to do with them? You're going to give them to those migrants to do work for you. You're going to need a field full of food. So you're going to pay them to grow potatoes or whatever vegetable you prefer. And then you give them the Waldo points. Then they have them. You get the food. You pass the points down. This is an economy. This is great. It's going to be fine. You're the new capitalist. Way to go. That is enough silliness for me. I appreciate everybody who came by. Thanks for stopping in. I'm going to turn these into videos and put them up over the week, and then I should be back tomorrow, probably tomorrow. And then if nothing important happens tomorrow in the news, then we'll just play a video game. All right. Goodbye. Good night. Goodbye. It's not nighttime. It's daytime.